你是大人了，却觉得学外语学了好久，还是无法顺畅口说沟通，今天这一集我特别重磅请来了全世界最厉害的语言学校毕业的 Tony Marsh 老师，他应该是 Claire 访谈过所有人之中最喜欢的一位之一，因为他身为美军语言学家，有一套非常独特又有效的口说学习方法，跟我们在学校英文学习体系下学的方式非常不同。那以下访谈我们讨论了，怎么样身为一个大人，还可以自己在家一个人也可以练出任何外语的流畅口说的实证方法。影片最后他还给了所有语言学习者一个非常强，我自己也都没有想过的黄金建议，所以务必看到影片的最后。如果你第一次来到我的频道 ，Hello， 我是托福117分的英文老师克雷儿，在这边分享最有效、实用又免费的英文自修技巧。喜欢这样的内容，记得订阅我的频道来收到更多。让我们直接进访谈。Hi Tony, thank you for coming up here on my channel with us. Can you introduce yourself in Chinese?
你好，我叫 Tony， 我是美国人，我是老师，我会说一点中文。
That's very good. Round of applause. Okay, what about in... So you learned Arabic in DLI, which is the main topic of today. Let's talk about this super mysterious but effective institution. You told me last time you wanted to go to this institute to learn a new language, and that's the reason why you joined the military.
Yes, exactly right. I mean, I became aware of the DLI, Defense Language Institute. It's in Monterey, California. I became aware of it and found out that the only way to go there is if you join the military. So I joined the military, joined the Air Force in order to be able to go to the school. I didn't know what language I would be, assigned. And I was actually hoping that I would learn Mandarin Chinese and got assigned Arabic and ended up having to study Arabic for 63 weeks at the DLI.
Can you show off your Arabic?
Okay. Well, this is standard Arabic. It sounds like this. مرحبا كيف حالكم اسمي توني أنا أمريكي أتكلم عربية درست اللغة العربية الفصحى في معهد الدفاع عن اللغات عندما كنت جندي في القوات الجوية أنا معلم في اللغات وأنا أحب أن أتكلم اللغات وأتعلم اللغات بشكل عام.
Wow, impressive. Okay, so this institute, DLI, is so cool. We want to learn more about it. We're not military person, so we can't go. Can you share more of your experience there? What was the schedule like during your 63 weeks there and their teaching method? What's your biggest takeaway there?
Okay, well, you wake up at 6 a.m. and work out, run a couple miles and stuff like that, before dawn usually. You get into class, there's formations and everything. You get into class and you basically do from 8 to 3, 8 to 4, something. It's a full day. The classes are hours. So you go for 50 minutes and then take a break, another 50 minutes, take a break, just all day in the classroom.
Wow, so you're basically in high school, all day learning Arabic.
That's true. It's a teaching team of native Arabic speakers that come to you and then they leave and then another one comes and we do speaking, reading, writing, and everything like that.
Wow, so I guess part of why this institution is so great at helping people speak another language is obviously the time that students have to spend there. But sure. I'm sure that they've been around since 1941, according to my research. So there must be some methods or little things we can take away from the way you learned there. Can you share some useful tips?
For me, the biggest takeaway is the actual conversation, the back and forth of speaking, and the confidence to speak in real life. That's what I care about most, both in my own practice and for anyone who I'm teaching. And I think the biggest thing about the DLI's teaching method that is a takeaway for me is the concept of the OPI, that's Oral Proficiency Interview. It's a speaking test. So it's the idea that in order to test your speaking, Claire, pretend you've graduated from Arabic or rather DLI and Arabic or Spanish or whatever it is, the speaking test, the OPI speaking test, is when the tester asks you questions and you need to be able to answer the questions.
So how do you practice for the OPI?
Taking questions.
And do you get corrected when you say something incorrectly, or you just flow with it?
Your coach, or your trainer will definitely help you in practice, but when it comes to the real OPI, you only get one shot.
Interesting. That's very similar to how I'm designing all my online courses. We're launching something called 英文开口课. Basically, it is conversation based.
Awesome.
But I'm curious about for people just practicing at home by themselves. Is there some substitutes to like a trainer correcting you? Is it ChatGPT? Is it like self-correcting? What would you recommend?
Okay, so I'm home alone. I don't have a teacher or a friend. I would grab a notebook and a pen and practice answering questions in writing. There's a thing that supposedly Einstein said. He's like, my pencil and I are smarter than I.
Oh, interesting. I like that quote.
Yeah, it's like you're using your pen to organize your thoughts. ChatGPT could give me a list of questions. No, like I really could improve my Mandarin tonight going to ChatGPT saying, okay, ask me something like, how do you say anything? What's your favorite color? 你最喜欢的, I don't know, something like that, right?
最喜欢的颜色是什么?
Thank you very much, right? So what if I wrote that down and then I said, okay, well, 最喜欢的颜色是, that would be good for me. It would be like an OPI. I'd be able to answer that question.
But what if you have something like a longer, more complicated thought in your head? You just couldn't on the spot like speak a full, complete sentence. It's like my coworker did this at work and I really didn't like it. I told my boss this, that. Like, how do you practice those longer, more complicated sentences?
So in my own teaching, I talk about two modes. One is called creative mode and the other is called survival mode. And by the way, I came up with those watching my kids play Minecraft. Creative mode, you can just play. Survival mode is I have to survive, okay? Pure survival mode is like being in an OPI. You can't ask any questions. You can't check your notes. You just have to survive. And so the key like mantra for survival mode is if I can't say what I'm thinking, then I need to think of something that I can say. So I could try to speak Mandarin and I would just use what I can say. If I can't say it, I'm not going to try to say it because I'm in survival mode. There's no forgiveness, okay? I need that form of practice. That's OPI practice. And it translates to real life. It makes you better, makes you sharper. The other side of it is creative mode, which is something like this. Oh, I want to say a more complex answer. Then think, what do I want to say? Oh, you know, my coworker did this, here's what they can then happen, and so on. And then take that and organize that thought like a journal entry, write that down, and now you got it. Like there's really no special way to figure that out. It's just, what do I want to say? Figure out how to say it. And hopefully, because I know enough of like the patterns of language, a complex thought is not any different than a simple thought. It's just, there's more of them, you know?
I would argue it's pretty different, but because we have to worry about the grammar structure and if it's correct, it doesn't come natural to us, right? So the longer sentence like that, which those we have a word in Chinese for it. And the teachers in school taught us to like remember when we need to use those, when we have to change the verb tenses. So when the sentences get long, we get lost in the whoa, like where am I?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Well, the point about is grammar ever complex? Is language ever complex? We can have a separate conversation perhaps. I argue that grammar never gets complex. All grammar is simple. So there's no such thing as simple grammar and advanced grammar. Grammar is basic. Like it is the foundation, right? But we can set that aside. The point is that if you want to say a complex thought, I would still say just organize your thoughts, write it down. Like one of my favorite anti-language learning mantras is don't try to learn English or don't try to learn Spanish, whatever language it may be. Don't try to study it. Just practice organizing your thoughts in the language. The grammar will be there. The vocab will be there. Practice organizing your thoughts in English, and you can do that in writing.
I like that. Okay, I also learned like a very interesting fact about DLI is that you guys have something called the Isolation Immersion Facility, and it has like kitchen, hotel setups, kind of like a theater, and then you guys have to like dress up, cook the food, pretend you're having a conversation at the airport. Have you been through those while you were there?
Yeah, we did a few of those. Yeah, we were playing role plays. Yeah.
What was it like? I'm very intrigued because like this kind of teaching is never a thing in our education system.
I love it. I mean, it's for me, that's perfect. Like having to speak Arabic, having to go around and like role play it and be in survival. I guess that the whole thing there, Claire, is really, it comes down to training in survival mode. And that's just more of that. No English allowed. You got to order the food, solve the problem,
So do you go back after the survival mode is played? Do you go back and think, oh, like I should have said this? Do you go back to do your own recap session to add some new vocab in your word bank? Or you
That's
just
a good idea. It's kind of like this survival mode shows you firsthand what you don't know, like what you need. Like, it's too late now.
I like that. So it's like a tool to make you realize what you don't know.
There you go. Exactly.
Very smart. I like that.
Better to learn what you need
than just learning everything. I think this is like a common mistake that Taiwanese learners make. They just trying to like get these big dictionary like vocab book that has like 2,000, 5,000 words and try to remember it. They think that's a first step to learning English or a new language.
An absolutely radical mantra here. Only learn what you need.
So speaking of like this kind of only learning what you need and then the isolation immersion facility, let me know if this is like a crazy idea, Tony. So I, as of this week, rented out like a theater here in Hollywood, and I'm planning to create a similar experience to this isolation facility experience for my online courses learners to have that experience, because obviously not everyone can go to the classes after they put their kids to bed and everything. And I'm trying to recreate that Russian airport custom scene or like chatting with a friend. Do you think this kind of at home sitting down at your computer and having someone in the theater guide you would be a good alternative to actually going to DLI? Or what is a better way?
I think the practice sounds excellent. Anyone that has the opportunity to be able to have an experience like that with you at the theater, at the isolation immersion, I think it would have a great experience. And I would personally highly recommend that anyone who can do it, do that with you. I think it's a great idea, Claire.
Yay. It's linguist approved. Actually, the idea came from like, I'm actually personally taking acting classes here in Hollywood. Everyone's trying to become like the next big movie star there in my class. My intention is to improve my English. And so I had this idea of, wait, why don't I bring this also to my audience? So I feel like acting classes are so great because like you're just forced to speak with different emotions, like tonality. You can say the same line in like a million different ways and they'll sound differently. It's so fun. So that's why I created this.
Very cool. I was going to say, I think it's a great idea. And the reason I think it's a great idea is because I imagine that when people are interacting with you, they have to defend themselves against the question, like, do you have your passport? You're doing customs role play. Oh, yes, my passport is here. It really plays into the real sort of game that is conversation. And that's why I think it's effective.
Okay. Moving on to the next part, I want to learn more about your takeaways from like going through this whole institution. And now you've been teaching for so many years. What do you think sets successful language learners apart from the ones that failed?
The most important thing that separates someone who learns a language and doesn't learn a language. And I have to remind everyone that when I talk about language learning, I am talking about how well you can communicate with people. Okay. And I respect anyone's like people, I only want to read. I only watch like K-dramas. That's very cool. That's all good. But I'm talking about pure communication. And so when it comes to the person that can communicate versus the person who says, I studied Spanish for 10 years, but I still can't speak. The thing that sets those two groups of people apart is the successful person practices expressing thoughts in the target language. They communicate. And so I always say language learning doesn't happen when you learn a word. It happens when you express a thought using that word.
When you say it out loud. But I have a side question to that. How on earth do you have that motivation to like just speak out loud at home by yourself with nothing to talk about? Like, what do you talk about to yourself?
Great question. So saying a word out loud and meaning it are two different things. So I'm trying to learn the word for books. Okay, in Mandarin, it's this, and in English, it's this. Good, got it? Okay, flashcards. How do you say books? I haven't expressed a thought yet, right? Saying it out loud is also not expressing a thought. Like if I could say books all day long, and I'm still not expressing a thought, no matter how many times I speak it out loud. Expressing a thought would be something like, okay, what do you have on your shelf? Do you have a lot of books or a few books? Oh, I have a few books. What's your favorite? My favorite book is like it's expressing a thought with word. They could do it in writing or a lie. It doesn't have to even be a true thing. But the point is that there needs to be a transfer of information. You can grab your notebook and be like, all right, Tony, do you have a lot of books in your room? You'd say, 你有很多的书. So I got most of it. And I need to, oh yeah, I have probably 20 books on my shelf. Like I need to learn how to say that in Mandarin.
Yeah.
I could be shy to raise my hand. Fine. But I still need to be able to say, well, 20 books in my room. It's a no-brainer. Obviously, I need to know how to be able to say that.
It seems like then we just need some prompts so you can like answer it.
One of my favorite mantras is that the best teacher, and I mean this, like it's not me, it's not you. You might be the second best, but the best teacher is a question. One of my favorite mantras.
The question.
Best teacher is a question. So you want to teach me that Mandarin thing? Have you ever been to China? 你去过中国吗? You want to teach me 去过? Then ask me, Tony, have you ever been to Taiwan? Ever been to here? Ever been to there? And I either have to go, yeah, 我去过的, or no, 我没去过. Like if you want to teach me X, Y, Z in any language, let the question be the teacher. That's the prompt that you're talking about.
I totally 1000% agree. You know, like a crazy thing I did. I came here about 5-6 years ago, and I would say like most of my English, I learned it the year before I came. People thought like I came here and then I learned to speak, but that wasn't the case. Prior to coming here, I just made up like different scenarios that I will have to speak, like talking to a roommate, asking for direction on the street and things like that. And I will ask myself questions and then have like a response ready. I will like write it down first and then I'll just practice in my head. And that's how like all my teaching, and my students know this, is like scenario based. I have like all sorts of scenarios in my course. Amazing. And on my YouTube, it's like scenario based. But I think we're basically saying the same thing, Tony.
That's why your English is great, and your English is amazing. I mean, that's obvious, everyone. So I'm not surprised that you took that approach. It's learning what you need.
Yes.
Situations.
Oh my gosh, learning what I need. Yes, I agree. Now I'm thinking about it. Yes, I didn't like ditch all my vocab book, and it was just like, what do I need? What would my like future roommate ask me after school, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Let's move on to the next question, which is, okay, now we know how to like say our thoughts and things like that. But there's one thing that our students struggle, which is they are very insecure about how they sound. So this is a question from our subscribers. It is how to get over the fact that your accent and pronunciation is not the best. How do you actually improve, and how do you get over that fear while in the process of improving? So two separate questions.
Very awesome. All right. So actually improving, we'll set that aside. Set that aside for a second. We'll talk about that second. When it comes to, okay, I don't have the best accent. I have a heavy gringo accent. My Spanish, for example, like whatever it may be. Okay. Here's the deal. I'm not supposed to speak Mandarin. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't grow up in China. No one would expect me to speak. If I can say 1 or 2 words in Mandarin, sometimes people will go, oh, that's really good. Like, oh, wow, you know a little bit of that.
You know what's really interesting? We're talking about the mindset. I feel like you not being able to have the perfect pronunciation is less judged than like Asians trying to like speak English and they have a heavy accent, and that will be judged. So it's kind of like tricky. It's not entirely the same. If that makes sense.
I can see that, and that is tricky. Okay, that does make it tricky. Who's going to judge you though? Other Asians?
Mostly. Ironically. Yes.
Okay. So where I was going with that is I would cultivate the attitude that I just lower expectations. Like, hey, what do you want? Like, so by lowering my own personal expectations, even on myself, it allows me to feel more confident. I've gone to places where people introduced me as an Arabic student, and I've gone to places where they said, oh, Tony's an Arabic teacher, and there's like native Arabic speakers there. I feel like I can perform better if you think less already. Like, I'm just a student, as opposed to like, oh, he's the teacher, now I have to be perfect. But I take your point. I would still say, okay, who cares? Like, who cares? So what? I don't know. What do you want?
That's the point. Like, just who cares? Let them.
Yeah.
I think that's the mindset.
And in fact, getting over that mindset problem to the point where you're like, I don't really care. Like, I'm just going to do my best. You'll end up actually doing better, like in the long run, because you're less afraid and everything like that.
Okay, that's the mindset part. So
Yes.
Going back to how to actually improve like your pronunciation and have like a standard American accent just for a better communication purpose.
I find that accent is somehow related to personality. It's like your accent is your like language personality. And this is true in native languages. Like think of a person from this part of the country, that part of the country. There's somehow a feeling, an attitude, like someone from like New York versus like Texas, you know, like there's a different personality. I like to talk about what I call the ESP, the English speaking personality.
Oh my gosh, Tony, I think we have so much in common in the teaching methods. That's exactly what I put in the course. Like I said,
Amazing.
like you're not learning a new language, okay? You're creating a new self, a different version of you that didn't exist before you speak this language.
And you build the ESP through basically imitating or emulating other people. It's kind of like you spend a whole weekend or a whole week like with a certain friend, you start talking like them. So to build the ESP, spending time around people and just listening to how they sound and the things they say and everything like that, it gets stuck in your head the way music. I mean, I know you know this. It gets stuck in like music gets stuck in your head.
Okay, next question for you is for our busy professionals or full-time moms. For someone who only has 15 minutes a day to practice, what would you suggest them to do in that time frame to see like max progress?
For me, the smallest unit of measurement in learning, it's not how many words you know, it's how many questions you can ask and answer. That's the smallest unit of measurement. So the smallest amount of something that a person could do in one day would be one question, one answer. So for me, it's going to be, what's your favorite color?
最喜欢的颜色是什么?
I know that's basic. Well, what about the person who's much more advanced? Okay, well, if that person is much more advanced, then let the question for them be, hey, Tony, what was the last book you read? And what was the plot? Summarize the plot. Definitely more advanced than what's your favorite color? Both are good questions, but I can only do one thing that day. I'm going to think of a question and an answer, whether it be as simple as favorite color or as complex as like the meaning of the universe. Come up with one question. If I do 2 or 3, time for a few more, fine. That's just as good. But one question a day multiplies.
That makes sense. Different languages have their different accents and how the words flow. What is the key to nail like different accents, like between when you speak Spanish and when you speak Arabic?
I believe the term is prosody. And this is one of my favorite things, prosody, Prosody. Prosody is like the language or the rhythm, the music of the language, you know what I mean? I watched a video recently about prosody in screenwriting, like script writing. Apparently, actors say that when a script is written with good prosody, it's easy to memorize. But when a script is written with like weird rhythm, it's like hard to memorize. Okay.
You know, the accent coach here in Hollywood told me it's called musicality of English.
Perfect. Great. Exactly right. Exactly right. So like we talked about earlier, sort of imitating the acts, imitating the music, simply paying attention to the music, like even being aware of its existence. If you can imitate something like an English speaker, like if you hear me say, oh, like that's amazing, you know, it's like, you know, you could draw it.
Yes, oh my gosh, I drew it in one of my videos for my student. I was drawing the dots and like kind of like the, what do you call those? You know, there's 5 lines in the music. Okay, the musical staff. I kind of have my own language staff. So I was trying to like mimic how the Little Mermaid speak. And then she speaks in like a higher pitch. I don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things could be bad. So like all the dots I drew for myself will be up there, and I use the same method to teach my students. So is that what you're talking about?
That's 100%. That's purely the prosody thing, the music thing. Love it. It plays into your personality. It plays into your whole, I mean, yes, that's just amazing. And I love the Ariel thing.
Okay, last question for you, Tony, is
all right.
if you could only give one piece of advice to all language learners, what would it be?
That language learning is a creative process, and it's better as a creative process. It's like learning to play the piano. Language is a tool that you use to express thoughts, to communicate. When you speak, you improvise. Like right now, you and I are not reading off of a specific script. Maybe you have a guideline. This is improv. Language is improv.
So does that mean you just translate your thoughts in native language and trying to say the same thing in the new language you want to learn?
Absolutely not. No. It couldn't be further from that. Because if I'm thinking in one language and trying to speak the other language, it's not going to work. In fact, we want to train ourselves to think in the second language, and we do that through a creative process of being able to say something that you can say. If I can't say what I'm thinking, I need to be able to change what I'm thinking to say something that I can say. That's very different than thinking of something in your first language, like, oh, I have to now say that. No, you don't have to say that at all. You don't have to say that. You just have to say something. Use English or the whatever language you're practicing. Use that as the creative tool for me to express some thought. That's the core skill.
Yes, I agree. No translation, that'll take you longer. It's harder. It's just backwards.
Not the deal.
Thank you, Tony, for your time.
Well,
this was so eye-opening and interesting. I think the students have a lot to do and then think about after this session. Thank you for being here with us.
My pleasure.
If you want to find Tony, where should we find you?
I'm sure it'll all be in the description.
Yes, share it with me and I'll put all of it in the description so you guys can check it out. And I will see you guys next time. Can you say bye in Chinese, Tony?
再见. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye, guys.